Assalamu alaikum students. How are you? I pray may you be fine and enjoying your life. So in the previous class we started the poem Casabianca and we read about the poetess Felicia Dorothea Hemans. And we read in this poem that this poem is a ballad which has a real incident, and this incident happened during the Battle of the Nile. So we elaborated 4 stanzas yesterday in the previous clip, and we read that there is a story of a boy who bravely performing his duty on a battleship. This boy was a young son of chieftain of the battleship, Admiral Luigi Casabianca, and he was a very obedient and faithful boy. So, the battleship was on fire. When we read the poem, we came to know that the battleship was on fire, but the boy was still waiting for his father's order to leave the place where his father, who was the chief of the ship, posted him. Right? So, now let's move further and elaborate the remaining stanzas. So, we have to start the elaboration from 5th stanza. We have completed 4 stanzas and we have to start from 5th stanza. So the 5th stanza is, "Speak, father, once again he cried, if I may yet be gone. And but the booming shots replied, and fast the flames rolled on." So in this stanza, poetess is saying that the boy cried again, the boy yelled again and called his father. Actually, he wanted to ask his father that if he might leave the place. Then he questioned his father if he could go from his post, but he could not get reply of his father. And in answer of his question, in answer of his yelling, or in answer of his crying, there was only the booming shots. What are the booming shots? Booming shots are the rising and roaring sounds of bullets and guns and cannonballs. So in the answer of his question, there were only rising and roaring sounds of bullets and cannonballs. So the sound of shooting was increasing and the flames were scattering and spreading everywhere. And the spread of flames and the dispersing of flames were getting faster and faster. तो इस स्टैंजा में क्या हुआ है? इस स्टैंजा में कासाबियानका, जो एक बहादुर लड़का है, अपने वालिद से दोबारा पूछता है कि क्या वो अपनी पोस्ट से जा सकता है, मगर उसके सवाल के जवाब में सिर्फ गोलियों की आवाज़ ही सुनाई देती है और शोले फैलते जा रहे हैं. So come to the 6th stanza. 6th stanza is, upon his brow he felt their breath, and in his waving hair, and looked from the lone post of death, in still yet brave despair. So in this stanza, the poetess tells us that the flames were getting higher and spreading faster. And then the boy Casabianca could feel their heat, their breath, he could feel their heat on his face. Bro here for the meaning of, in the sense of forehead. पेशानी के मीनिंग्स में ये वर्ड यहाँ पर यूज हुआ है. So he could feel their heat on his forehead, and also the flames were touching his beautiful waving hair. His waving hair were also being touched by the flames. He was all alone there on this post. Now the poetess is saying that post of death, maybe because there were signs of death everywhere and he was all alone there. So as most of the soldiers had died, chieftain had died, and only a few people were alive there. but those people who were alive, they had run away from the place, from the battleship. So he was standing there, the boy was standing there on that post alone, though he was a brave and courageous boy. But now poetess is saying that in still yet brave despair, but now he was feeling some despair. Despair is hopelessness. So he was feeling hopelessness now as he was not getting reply from his father. So कासाबियांका अब अपने चेहरे पर, अपनी पेशानी पर, अपने बालों पर आग के शोलों को महसूस कर रहा था. हालांकि वो एक बहादुर लड़का था, लेकिन अब कुछ कुछ मायूस दिखाई देने लगा था. So come to the 7th stanza. And shouted, but once more aloud, my father, must I stay, while o'er him fast, through sail and shroud, the wreathing fires made way. Now the stanza is telling us that he called his father again, and he shouted louder now. He yelled more loudly and asked if he must stay at the place, at his post, where the flames are making their way and scattering and dispersing everywhere. Now they had reached the sail and shroud. So what is sail? Sail is a kind of a cloth, or we can say this is a kind of a canvas. एक तरह का कपड़ा होता है canvas, हम इसको कह सकते हैं, which is used to propel a ship or to move a ship, जो कि शिप को चलाने के लिए इस्तेमाल होता है. हम उर्दू में इसको कहते हैं बादमान. And the next thing is shroud. Shroud are the ropes, the thick ropes. मोटे रस्से होते हैं. These thick ropes are present on the ship, sometimes to hold the sail or sometimes for some other purposes. ये जो shrouds होते हैं या जो ये मोटे रस्से होते हैं, ये सेल को होल्ड करते हैं. सेल इनसे बंधा हुआ होता है, बादमान इनसे बंधा हुआ होता है. And here is another word, wreathing. So wreathing means covering, winding or enveloping something. So this couplet which has been used here, this couplet means that there was fire everywhere, there were flames everywhere, and those flames were winding, coiling and covering everything of ship, including the sail and the shroud. So now come to the next stanza, that is stanza number 8. So they wrapped the ship in splendor wild, they caught the flag on high, and streamed above the gallant child like banners in the sky. So in this stanza, the poetess is telling us that the flames were getting higher and higher, and they wrapped the ship. Wrapped here is the second and third form of wrap, and this is the archaic spelling of wrap. Now the second form and third form of wrap is wrapped, wrapped, wrapped. WRAPPED. So here we can say that the flames wrapped the ship like a great giant. Splendor. So if something is slender, it means that it has glory or splendidness. So or the thing is very great. So the flames were wrapping the ship like a great giant, and they enveloped the whole ship. Even they reached the flag too, which was waving on a high place. So and streamed above the gallant child, and then they flowed over the brave child too. Gallant means brave. So they flowed over the child too, and they encircled the boy. And now the flames were getting higher and higher and covering everything, every place, and they were as higher as the banners, the flags are high and cover the sky. So इस स्टैंजा में हमें पोइट्स बता रही है कि शोले किसी अजीम देव कामत किसी बहुत बड़ी मखलूक की मानद जहाज़ को लपेटते जा रहे थे, घेरते जा रहे थे, और उन्होंने जहाज़ के झंडे को भी अपनी लपेट में ले लिया था, और हर तरफ बुलंदो बाला शोले ऐसे नज़र आ रहे थे गोया आसमान पर झंडे लहरा रहे हों। Next stanza is, there came a burst of thunder sound. The boy, oh, where was he? Asked of the winds that far around with fragments strewed the sea. And then there was a great blast. That blast might be of cannonballs, and there was a thundering sound. And you can see that these three lines, the boy, oh, where was he? Asked of the winds that far around with fragments strewed the sea. These three lines have a great effect. आप अगर हम इनको उर्दू में सोचें तो these lines are so touching. Like हवा ने दूर दूर तक फैले हुए जहाज़ के टुकड़ों से पूछा, वो लड़का वो कहाँ था? So with the blast, this ship, which was already destroyed, now distributed, broken into pieces, and those fragments means pieces, so those pieces spread everywhere and covered its complete surface. Strewed, the word strew has been used here, and it means to spread, to discover, to scatter, and here in the stanza it means to cover with small pieces. So when the ship was destroyed completely, the boy was also killed there, and the poetess sadly says that the wind asked the parts, the pieces of the ship that where the boy had gone. So come to the last stanza now. With mast and helm and pennon fair, that well had borne their part, but the noblest thing which perished there was the young faithful heart. So in this stanza, in the last stanza, poetess is praising everything, every part of the ship. With mast and helm and pennon fair. Mast means wooden or metallic poles to which a ship's sails are tied. मास्ट जो होते हैं वो लकड़ी के बने हुए या मेटल के बने हुए पोल्स होते हैं जिनसे बादमान जहाज़ के बादमान बांधे जाते हैं. And helm is a steering wheel of ship by which a ship can be moved or controlled. Or pennon is a kind of a narrow flag, usually triangular flag. So the poetess is appreciating every part of the ship, that every part played its role in a great way, gracefully, fair in the meaning of beautiful. So every part of the ship played its great role. That well had borne their part. Born here is the third form of bear. So bear, bore, born. And here we will take its meaning in the meaning of take. So everything of the ship took a marvelous part in the battle. But the most graceful thing which was destroyed there, the greatest, the best thing which died there was a little obedient and loyal heart of the young boy. And who was that young boy? That young boy was the son of the chieftain Casabianca, who laid down his life for the sake of duty and honor. You can see here the word perished. Perished is the second form, third form of perish, and perish means to die or be destroyed. So, इस स्टैंजा में पोइटेस शिप की हर चीज़ को अप्रिशिएट कर रही हैं कि जहाज़ के हर पार्ट ने बेहतरीन रोल प्ले किया, मगर सबसे मौज़िज़ चीज़, सबसे बेहतरीन चीज़ जो वहाँ डिस्ट्रॉय हुई वो उस बहादुर लड़के का, कासाबियांका का वफादार दिल था. when we read about this poem, or when we read about this incident, so we come to know that this boy was very young. He was just 12 years old, and some books say that he was just 13 years old. So he was so young, but he was brave and courageous, and he faced the condition bravely and boldly, and he did not escape away, he did not run away as the remaining crew of the ship ran away. So this moving and heart-touching poem ends here. We also stop our class here. In the next class, inshallah, we will write the introduction of poetess, and will also do the words meaning of the poem and synonym antonyms. Till then, take very good care of yourself. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you from every evil.